tech. I'm not the tech person. Very happy not to be the tech person.
Yeah.
Tech is hard.
Mostly because we have a crazy setup.
We have crazy setup. We've shown some pictures of the behind the scenes setup. We have crazy setup. We have 4 lights going right now. 4?
I have no idea.
Studio lights.
I have no idea.
2 cameras. Crazy software configuration to make this work. But that's what we do now. We do virtual bourbon tastings. We have a virtual bourbon tasting company. We do a lot of virtual bourbon tastings. Like, a lot. Like, I don't know how many we have, but it's like a crazy, crazy number. Yeah.
Okay.
And
we're going to go live on Instagram.
Instagram.
Because it's the one that I can't do on the other connection.
Nope.
And we're live, I think,
Hey,
everywhere.
live Instagram. We got the Facebook watch party or whatever they're calling it nowadays going.
Yes.
Right.
And I was sure that somebody can hear you since it's closed captioning it already.
Wow, that's freaking cool. Live closed captioning is just, it's the future.
And this is episode 39.
30, I was about to say 29. Really, I had 29 in my head, but 29 was like 3 months ago.
Yes.
Wow. That's why Hillary runs that part of the show. That's why she's the producer. I just stand here.
We're good to go now.
Okay, we're starting. Hey, okay. All right, here we go. So, good evening, everybody. I am Tim Niddle of Distilled Living, and this is Crazy Cabin Fevers, episode 39, presented by Fascination Design. We have been mentioning this in lead up to this episode that we're super excited. This is our first fully supported episode. We're supported by Brown-Forman and their brands. They reached out to us. Thank you, Sarah. And provided us some support for making some derby cocktails, showing you how to do some recipes and some tweaks and various things about that. So we're all celebrating derby from home this year. Unless you happen to own a horse or sit on a horse at the derby, you're pretty much going to be at home. So we're all going to be making cocktails at home. And there are the classic derby cocktails, which we're all expecting to be drinking in May. Maybe we did drink in May. But we're going to revisit those for our at-home, very personal derby watching parties for this year. Now, all these recipes are available and have been available since really early in the year over at KentuckyDerby.com, so check those out. Specifically, we're going to work through these Brown-Forman products that you see and how those relate to a specific set of cocktails and a couple of mocktails as well, because we always want to have those as an option. So obviously, mint julep, that's the big one. As part of their support, Old Forester sent us this really awesome ice bucket, which we totally needed on this show, and then turned into a mint planter. So that's how that works. But the mint julep obviously is going to be the go-to cocktail. It takes a bit of effort to make if you're going to make it well. And so mint julep, Old Forester has this Old Forester mint julep in a bottle, which is what they primarily serve at the Derby. For when we're back to 100 and however many thousand people that are there, most of them are going to be this kind of product. And they sent us all these bottles. I didn't mention that, right? And then we broke into this one already, just for drinking because it's really good. And so they actually have a recipe for this on the website, KentuckyDerby.com. And this is, it's you could drink this as a mint julep right out of the bottle. That's kind of what it's intended for. You're kind of tweaking it up and turning it up a little bit in their Old Forester mint julep. But I'm just going to jump straight ahead to making the Woodford Reserve mint julep, which is the official drink of the Kentucky Derby, I think, or whatever their trademark piece is. And then because there's no point in me just kind of making it twice. So let's walk through how to make a really, really good mint julep. So I'm going to take these away. I just want to point out, they sent us all kinds of stuff, which is really nice. They sent us this nice shaker, which we've used on one of the episodes. They sent us the cocktail stirring glass, strainer. We're not going to use these because everything, all the cocktails and all these recipes are what are called built-in glass. And the purpose of built-in glass cocktails is it's easier to do at home. You know, in a bar setting, you know, you get your own sink that is for nothing but cleaning your shaker in between cocktails. You probably don't have that at home, and it's not worth the effort. You got when we're back to having a bunch of people over, even when you're just making 2 or 3 cocktails for yourself. You want an easier built-in glass cocktail. So I'm going to take these away. All right, I'm trying to be a little gentle about how I set them down. They also sent us this enormous bar mat. I'm getting prompted. Like, trying to get into drinking. Okay, I've been talking too long. I'm excited about this. This is exciting. For people who want to make some drinks. Okay, Woodford Reserve Mint Julep. So they sent us muddler. We're not going to use a muddler. A lot of mint julep recipes call for using a muddler, but it is really, really easy to destroy the mint and get a bad mint julep if you use a muddler. So that's going away. And really fancy julep cup. Remember, your julep cup dates back to Middle Ages England, a little later, when you carried around your cup with you. The fancier your cup, the higher status you were. This is a fancy cup. Thank you for that. And so when we want to work with fresh, high-quality mint. We rinsed this earlier. I'm going to strip all the lower leaves, and I'm really excited that the recipe that Woodford Reserve has on the website involves doing it this way. I washed my hands earlier, plus I'm at home, which is fine. So instead of muddling, they are recommending pressing the leaves into the glass, which I think is the best way to make a mint julep. We're going to let it roll the mint around. I'm going to sort of try to ball it up a little bit more. And kind of, we just want to express the oils, but not tear the leaves all the way up and around the lip. You can't actually see anything different, but the aroma is super minty. So I'm going to discard those mint leaves. Now, they're going to have you build it in glass, and they're doing it, it's an interesting recipe because I've got my simple syrup already made. I was talking to some bartenders out in New York recently, and the mint juleps there are getting drier and drier. They're pulling down the sweetness a lot. Whereas the traditional southern mint julep very often has a lot more sugar. It's sometimes half a part simple to 1 part bourbon, and we're going to use 2 ounces of Woodford Reserve. They're kind of splitting the difference with the recipe that they put on the website. So this is going to be a ½ ounce of my simple, and it's going to be 2 ounces of Woodford Reserve. And yes, they sent me a fancy derby bottle, which I think is awesome. It's going to be a collector's item, but I'm totally opening mine and drinking it because bourbon is for drinking. If you did manage to pick up one of these, it's got the original derby date on it instead of the new derby date, which is something for the history books. All right, so now I've got the beginnings of my mint julep. Now, crushed ice. Obviously, historically, Lewis Bag and Mallet. Not doing that on the show because it makes a ton of noise. So instead, crushed ice out of my freezer. And I am just going to pack this pretty good. Now, I tend to make a horrible mess when I make mint juleps, and I don't mind. But the recipe, I like the way that they have designed this, which is going to... I'm going to partially fill it, and then I'm just going to stir it till the glass frosts, which doesn't take long. Really, this is you know, the longest part of making a mint julep is harvesting the mint. I know it's getting a little interesting noise on there. We have not worked with a copper julep cup before, so that's kind of cool. It's got a different sound. And then I like what they say, which is garnish it with more ice. It's like, yeah, let's definitely do that. You know, this is a big, bountiful kind of celebratory drink in this fashion. Have you seen this do this on the show before? We're going to slap the mint. And that is going to break the cells and release the aromatics. That goes right down in there as the garnish. And then, classically, you would get a metal straw. And there you go. Did I get the logo facing? I got the logo facing. Look at that. Such a good job. And this is really good, really good. So obviously, you can do a Forester premix, or you can just make it like this. It's really good. Whether or not you have the fancy cup. All right. Oh, the old Forester one has a fancy cup too. Forgot to mention that. Check that out. That's what you would get if you were at Derby, but there are other ways of getting it as well this year. So that's where we're going with the mint julep. And we've done the mocktail version of this on the show before, which is basically using Elmwood Inn teas. They're a Kentucky blend. Just literally swapping this out in place of the bourbon. It makes a great, effectively, it's mint sweet tea. But it's really quite good. So I'm going to do a mocktail version of the next drink at the same time that I make the regular drink. So just so you can see how easy it is and just exactly how it works. And that way we've made one more that doesn't have alcohol in it, which we need to. So this is the Woodford Spire. And this is interesting, and you'll see how it fits into all the other cocktails when we get done. This is another built-in glass, so I've already just taken my tall Collins glass, put the ice in there. They recommend building it, or they list it in kind of the bartender order. Normally a bartender would build this in reverse order, but I'm going to show you the order that they have it on the website. So we're going to do 1.5 ounces of Woodford. And for the mocktail version, we're just going to do 1.5 ounces of the Elmwood tea. All right, and then, so it calls for 2 ounces of lemonade at this point. I didn't have any lemonade made up. If you are just going to buy some lemonade, which totally works in this drink, get a really high quality one with no additives. Get one like Simply Lemonade, which is just lemon water and sugar. And that is going to, it's just going to make a far superior drink. There's no additives in Woodford Reserve. They put a lot of care into it. Get the same thing with your lemonade. So lemonade is basically lemon juice, sugar, and some water. I'm just going to make a concentrated version of that just by using some lemon juice that I squeezed earlier and that simple syrup again. So it calls for 2 ounces. I'm going to do a little bit over an ounce of my lemon juice. Now this is going to be stronger than using a lemonade that's cut with water, but I'm okay with that. And then, oops, how about I get the right tool at this point? Little under, probably do just around 3/4 of an ounce of my simple. And then this calls for an ounce of cranberry juice. This one, Ocean Spray, it's the best one. It's actual cranberry juice. Don't get the blend. Don't get anything with a bunch of other additives in it or colors or anything like that. Same as with the lemonade. Get the good stuff. It is night and day. Make yourself a vodka cranberry with this, and then try it with something else. This is the way to go. It's a 1 ounce. And conveniently, these drinks could all be made and batched in advance if you didn't want to have to keep remaking your drinks throughout the day as you are watching all of the other horse races that go on Derby Day. And now I'm just going to stir this until it integrates. Nothing here is difficult integration, like if we were working with vermouth or sherries or anything like that. You literally just want the ingredients to kind of touch each other, kind of homogenize a little bit. So, and this calls for a lemon twist. I'm going to do kind of a little bit of a, I'm not going to do a full twist. I do want to, it doesn't call for this, but I'm going to express the oils over the top anyway because I want that little bit of brightness. And I'm going to stick that right down there. Look at that. It's kind of cool. It's a really easy drinking cocktail. Like really easy drinking. And then a mocktail version as well. You could picture up both of them at the beginning of your day. And then whatever you're feeling at any particular moment in time, it's easy to reach for the right one. So now we're going to do, so because this is kind of like an elevated whiskey sour, right? We've done whiskey sours on the show. It's pretty obvious what that is. Now we're going to do the Oaks Lily. And the Oaks Lily has its own fancy glass. It's called a stemless wine. It's just a nice fancy shape, and then they've got obviously the one that's decorated for this year. Now, I've not ever made this cocktail before because we just don't do a lot of vodka cocktails on the show, except we were talking about this earlier. We did a bunch of martinis, and that was kind of about it. But that was because various projects and various things came out. We haven't done a lot of vodka cocktails. I'm going to make a bigger one and bring in the ice at the end, which is going to be a little bit easier to manage the sizes. So when you look at the recipe on the website, it's going to say parts instead of volume measurements. So it's 1 part Finlandia vodka, which is a really nice vodka. It doesn't have any glycerin or anything in it. So it's a pure vodka. And 1 part. It's kind of wherever you want to start with. A lot of your cocktails are going to be between 1.5, 2 ounces as your base spirit. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to do a 2 ounce base. So my 1 part on my cocktail here is 2 ounces of Finlandia. Nope. Try that again. There we And then it calls for 1 part of sweet and sour. Sweet and sour is basically concentrated lemonade. It's pretty much what I made for the last drink there, because I like that little bit more intensity than doing an actual lemonade with the added water. So I'm going to do the same thing. Very often I like a little variant on a sour, which is just lemon juice and sugar, simple. I like to throw in some lime, some grapefruit, something like that, just to give it a little bit more interest. But for this one, I'm going to do a classic. All right, try not to hit the microphone. So again, the same thing. I'm going to do a little. So this is 2 ounces. So I'm looking for as 1 part. I'm looking for 1 part again. So I'm going to do the same kind of thing that I did last time of a little bit over an ounce of my fresh lemon juice and a little under an ounce of my simple. Do yourself a favor. Don't buy anything that says sweet and sour mix in a bottle. I've never found a good one. They are a shelf-stable abomination. Make it fresh, or at least buy lemonade or like a really high-quality lemon juice. Don't go all the way to sour mix. You just make it right here, just like I did. Super easy to do. Okay, and then triple sec. So it's 1/4 part, which is going to be a 1/2 ounce in our case, because our part was 2 ounces. And we use dry Curacao. You've seen this in the show before. This stuff is great. It doesn't bring too much extra sweetness. Brings a lot of flavor. It's technically a Curacao, which I've never fully appreciated whether or not that is exactly in the category of triple sec, or if triple sec is a Curacao or whatever. But anyway, it is an orange liqueur. It is great. Okay. One in there. Set that off to the side. And then it's going to be 3 parts cranberry. So you see a lot of the ingredients that we just used to make that Spire. Spire kind of splits the difference between the mint julep and the oak lily. It's kind of it's close to a bourbon lily. So 3 parts. It's going to be 6 ounces. It's going to take up a lot of this glass. This is why I waited to put the ice in last, because I was making a big one. Obviously, if you started with 1 ounce of Finlandia instead of 2 like I did, you'd get half the volume. All right, and let's get the remainder of my crushed ice. Yeah. This is why it's nice to have a bar mat even at home, because ice goes everywhere, and it doesn't matter. This is why bartenders use them. Now I gotta do stir to chill slightly and integrate. It calls for blackberries, which I don't have right now. Not really a seasonal thing in September. I would try to find a substitute for that. And lemon, which I can totally do. So I'm going to do a little lemon wedge. This is another reason to have a bar mat, is because it doubles as a cutting board. Now this one's going to be a pain to wash later, but that's okay. And voila, oak lily just without the blackberry.
Normally at this point I actually say, and all the recipes will be online later, but they're actually already online.
Yes.
We have them in a link already to the Churchill Downs website, since that's where they live.
Yeah, that's really good. It's really good.
You've never had that one before?
Right. I've never even had this cocktail before. This is freaking tasty. Like, that's really, really nice. Yes. So, as Hillary mentioned, everything's up online. We put links, and look at KentuckyDerby.com. And please enjoy Derby safely from your own home. Look for more supported shows coming out soon. And I look forward to seeing everyone who can make it at Churchill Downs next year, first Saturday in May. Cheers.
Do we have any idea what we're doing next week?
Next week, we have several ideas.
Okay.
No idea what we're going to be able to do, because next week is Derby week, and there are a gazillion virtual bourbon events going on. I counted them. That's how many there were. So we may or may not even launch on time. It may be pre-recorded. We are figuring out next week. I know we have 7 days to figure it out, but We have some ideas. If you have some simple ideas that we can pre-record, that'd be pretty cool. Otherwise, stay tuned for that, and we will. And we'll have something. And we have some stuff on the drawing board for the next few weeks. But next week is its own week.
So next week we will probably be here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It may be pre-recorded. It may be a little bit late. Tonight we had a few technical difficulties, and so we started a little bit late. But it's all good.
It's all good.
And I hope everybody enjoyed this, and we'll see you again next week.
There you go. Cheers. Good night. I'm really enjoying this.